Welcome in, everyone, to Football Friday, presented by Football Addicts Anonymous. Hopefully, that presenting sponsor will change here soonish with some of the business things that Mr. Mark is doing. But yeah, great to be here. Another week down in law school. Got my boy Grayson here for the first time. So,
What's going on, y'all?
yeah, we had some interesting, not too interesting stuff going on during the week, but a lot of great games going on this weekend. So let's get to it here. Starting off with there was Maction. We had Maction in on Tuesday and Wednesday. Like I said last week, we're not going over those games. But we will go over the one game last night in college football. Number 21 Pitt taking care of business at Heinz Field, 30-23 in overtime. Forgot to mention that there. Over UNC. Kenny Pickett, fantastic once again. I was annoyed that I had -7. I should have bought the half a point or the whole point like I was told to. But I was like, you know what? -7. It was plus 105. Can't beat plus money on a spread. So I took it. It pushed in overtime. Luckily, they should have won by a lot more. I mean, it was 23-7 at halftime. They were rolling early, man. And props to UNC and Sam Howell for coming back, but not enough against the Pitt Panthers at home. So yeah, Antoine Green, 100-yard performance, 2 touchdowns there. Josh Downs, almost 100 yards for the Tar Heels as well. And yeah, Pitt got the win. Like I said, Pitt covered the actual line. The game time line was -6.5, so they did cover way under 72. I knew I should have went there. I was thinking about it early on in the game when Pitt was slinging it around. UNC couldn't do anything on offense. I was like, dude, this is an easy under, and I just did not do that. So I don't know, man. Any thoughts on this game, Grayson, before we go to NFL?
Yeah, I mean, let's go to NFL. I mean, this it's a two good football teams, and what a game.
So yeah, Monday night, Steelers getting it done, also at Heinz Field, 29-27 against the Bears. And I hated it because I'm a Steelers fan, but it was a little coming out party for Justin Fields. Played well against the Steelers' vaunted defense. But I told people once the Bears scored and made it 27-26, I told everyone, I was like, they left too much time for Big Ben. And one of my guys in my law school fantasy group chat or league, he's like, are you sure we're talking about the same Big Ben? I was like, I fucking know. Big Ben is Big Ben, and he's going to get this done, drive him down for a game-winning kick. And he did. So yeah. Fryermuth, I was happy. I picked him up after I traded Mark Andrews, and I've been so happy. I mean, this was the first week I had him starting, but very excited for that fantasy prospects of Pat Fryermuth there. Steelers finally have a tight end that they haven't had since Heath Miller. So what else can we say about this game? I don't know. Very competitive though, right?
I thought it was a good game. What do you think about Justin Fields though coming in?
I mean, I was never a Justin Fields guy. Um, it does look like you can see he's improving. It's just I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if Nagy is still there next year or not.
Well, I think also having Big Ben as kind of almost as your mentor would be great for a young quarterback like Justin Fields.
Yeah. Defensively, I'm going with my boy. I know I've said that I usually pick the guys with defensive touchdowns, hence DeAndre Houston Carson. But I cannot go against TJ Watt every time. Primetime stage, any game, he is up for it. 7 tackles, 4 solos, 3 sacks, 3 tackles, lost pass deflection, and 3 QB hits. He is now tied with Myles Garrett, I believe, for the league lead in sacks. And he should have won Defensive Player of the Year last year. I hope he wins it this year. And yeah, Chris Boswell, game-winning 40-yard field goal. 2 50-yarders, his other 2 field goals there as well. Bears covered, though, +7 and under or over 40. I mean, over 40 hit. All right, last night, let's go to this shit show. Dolphins, they've won 2 in a row now. 22-10 over the Ravens in Miami. Yeah, I mean, it was exactly what I said in the beginning. It is a shit show. I mean, it was just absolutely terrible. The Baltimore Ravens couldn't move the ball at all, and I kept yelling at the TV because I had money on the Ravens and stuff, but there were no adjustments by the Baltimore offense. Miami, probably I saw around maybe 5 or 6 times, ran the same blitz over and over again. They would just line up 7 guys on the line, have 4 back in coverage, and the Ravens couldn't figure out which guys were blitzing and which weren't. And it just created all kinds of havoc. And yeah, it was absolutely terrible.
What do you think about the Dolphins? I mean, they're just having terrible quarterback trouble. I mean, they just can't figure out who to go with. I mean, Rusty, what do you think about that? I mean, do you see any benefits going down the line with it? Who their man is?
Well, I thought Tua coming in when Jacoby Brissett went down, I thought Tua did well, even with apparently he still has his finger issue, but the stats aren't eye popping, but he did enough with the support of the defense that. And I was high on Tua coming into this year and high on the Dolphins as a whole. And I mean, now that they won 2 in a row, who says they can't go on a run? If their defense plays like they did the last 2 games, I mean, they let up 9 points against the Texans. They let up 10 against the Ravens here. The only issue is they're not scoring a lot on offense. They scored 17 against Houston and 22 here. So, and one of those touchdowns here was a defensive touchdown. So it's like, can you really play that way the entire season? Probably not, but I do still hope that they win enough games to actually no. That prop has kind of sailed at this point. My Patriots to finish 4th in the AFC East and the Jets to finish 3rd. Jets to finish 3rd is looking good right now, but the Patriots to finish 4th is not looking good with them at 5-4. So maybe I don't want the Dolphins to win a lot anymore. And actually, it would help the Eagles too because the Eagles had their 1st-round pick. So that'd be okay if the Dolphins keep losing. But yeah, not a lot of running game from either team here. Bateman had a nice game, 6 for 80. And defensively, Xavier Howard, I mean, five tackles, 5 solos. Then a 49-yard fumble recovery return for a touchdown. A lot of good defensive performances, though, by Miami. And I want to shout out also on defense, Odafe Owe for the Ravens. Another stellar performance. Anytime I watch the Ravens, I hate the Ravens because I'm a Steelers fan, but at the same time, I love watching Oweh and I love watching him do well because I still have that play in to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. He is the top competitor against Micah Parsons. Now, Micah Parsons, everyone is kind of like on him a lot right now, but I think he has a shot at it. Anyways, if he can continue to get sacks, I think he would have a good shot at it to beat Parsons out. And hopefully he does, because that's pretty good, decent payout. So, Dolphins covered plus 8.5, under 47. All right, let's go to news. Roll through this here. So, NCAA news. We actually got a lot for once. Couple season-ending injuries here. Wisconsin running back Ches Malusi. He is done for the year. Leg injury. It's going to be freshman Braylon Allen going forward for the Badgers. Allen, I believe, has 500-yard performances in their first 10 games. So definitely capable. And Wisconsin's on a roll right now. Georgia, wide receiver Arian Smith, possibly done for the year as well. He broke his leg in practice on Wednesday. So it'll be, Lad McConkey still, Brock Bowers, get more targets there. And Jackson, was it Rosemary Saint? Something like that. I forget his exact name. But yeah, I think it's Rosemary Saint, though. He should be getting more targets as well. UConn, they have their new head coach. It is former UCLA and NFL head coach Jim Mora Jr. I don't know why they didn't specify that on the ESPN article, but it is Jim Mora Jr. He got signed to a 5-year deal. We'll see. I mean, UConn's a tough place to coach football at. So I have no clue if he can what he can do with the program, but we'll have to see. And then last thing for NCAA here, the MAC, Mid-American Conference, they announced they are not planning to expand, unlike a lot of the other conferences. Conference USA getting some teams, Sun Belt expanding, the SEC, obviously, Texas and Oklahoma coming, the American losing some teams, adding some teams, and whatnot. MAC will not be in the running to add any teams at this point. All right, NFL news. The Packers COVID situation here. So the team was fined $300,000, and then quarterback Aaron Rodgers and wide receiver Alan Lazard also fined $14,650 for COVID violations there. Pretty much centering around a Halloween party, an unsanctioned Halloween party at the facility that the Packers knew about, but didn't report to the NFL. And there were guys not wearing masks at the party, specifically Rodgers and Lazard. So fines at this point, but subsequent COVID violations could result in higher fines and or draft pick compensation loss.
Now, Rusty, I mean, these players, I mean, this $14,000, do you really think that has any effect on their decision-making to not do that or do it again?
On Rodgers, no. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head about what Lazard's contract is, but, he's not paid as a number one wide receiver. So $14,000 to him might be a little bit different, but $300,000 to the Packers is nothing else. So.
Right. Okay.
The Jets head coach Robert Saleh announced that Mike White will get the start again this week against the Bills. Zach Wilson's still not back to 100% yet. So I think next week is probably the target date for Wilson to return there. The Patriots, they activated quarterback Jarrett Stidham from PUP, physically unable to perform list. Going to be, I believe he's going to come in as the third string. I don't think he's going to replace Brian Hoyer as the main backup. I think Hoyer will still stay as the QB2 there to Mac Jones. The Chiefs did the same with offensive lineman Kyle Long. Good to see him back, injured in the preseason after coming out of retirement for Kansas City. The Packers, they did the same with offensive tackle David Bakhtiari. He is doubtful this week, trying to return from his injury. COVID stuff here. The Broncos, they will be without offensive coordinator Pat Shurmur this week against the Eagles. He is out because of COVID. Browns, they have a bunch of running backs on the COVID list. Nick Chubb, Demetric Felton, John Kelly, all out this weekend. That's going to leave Dearness Johnson as the starter once again. Kareem Hunt still on the IR. And they did, however, sign former Falcons running back Brian Hill to give them some depth at least. But I would expect a big workload for Dearness Johnson in New England. The Jets, they placed wide receiver Denzel Mims on the COVID list, so he is out this weekend. Guys coming off of the COVID list, Broncos tight end Noah Fant, big boost to Teddy Bridgewater in the offense there. And the Cardinals are getting A.J. Green back off of the COVID list as well. Not sure about if Hopkins is playing or not. The Cowboys, they placed pass rusher Randy Gregory on IR. He is out multiple weeks, has a calf injury that he sustained in practice this week. So I kind of mentioned Micah Parsons earlier. He's going to go back to his edge role more than off-ball linebacker role. So that's what that defensive rookie of the year race, I think Parsons going to a defensive end role so much helps Owe in his case for defensive rookie of the year. Because I don't think Parsons puts up as many stats when he plays defensive end than when he does at linebacker. So happy for that, and happy that it's to the Cowboys. The Saints, they placed first-round rookie defensive lineman Peyton Turner on IR. I didn't see exactly what injury he had, but he's going to be out minimum 3 weeks. And then guys returning from the IR. There's a bunch of them this week. Patriots or returning to practice, not necessarily playing this week, but Patriots offensive tackle Trent Brown, Titans corner Christian Fulton, Panthers guard Deontay Brown, Falcons linebacker Dante Fowler, and Jets guard Connor McDermott. The Seahawks, they designated running back Chris Carson to return from IR. I haven't heard yet if he's playing this weekend. I don't think he is, but haven't heard anything definitive on that note. Browns did the same with linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Again, I haven't heard if he's playing or not this weekend. The Panthers, they placed quarterback Sam Darnold on IR. He has a fractured scapula. He's out at least 4 weeks there. The Steelers wide receiver Chase Claypool, he got good news this week. His toe injury he suffered against the Bears on Monday, not season ending. So he's week to week at this point. Look for James Washington to get more targets. I know I put him in a couple of my daily fantasy plays. Really excited to see if his target share ups, or even, I'd take it too because I know I have Deontay Johnson and Pat Fryermuth in a bunch of leagues. I'll take more targets for those two. Also, Najee Harris. Najee Harris could be more of a factor in the passing game more than he already is. I mean, he's already a PPR stud in fantasy right now. The Jags running back James Robinson, he's questionable with his heel injury. Other guys for the Jags that are good to go this weekend, though, quarterback Trevor Lawrence with his ankle, left tackle Cam Robinson with a back, and linebacker Miles Jack with his knee injury. All three are going to play against the Colts. One guy not playing, Saints running back Alvin Kamara. He is out this weekend with his knee sprain that he has suffered against the Falcons, I believe. And so Mark Ingram, good old reliable Mark Ingram, will be the starting running back for the New Orleans Saints against the Titans this weekend. For fantasy purposes, I would not suggest starting Mark Ingram, though. I don't think with Trevor Siemian at quarterback, I don't think he'll get enough touches, but the way that the Titans defense has been playing so far the last couple of weeks, I would not suggest starting Mark Ingram against Tennessee. They're more susceptible to the pass than they are the run. So Patriots running backs Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson, both questionable coming out of concussion protocol. We'll have to see which one or both play or don't play. So the Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray, another week of being a game time decision from head coach Cliff Kingsbury. I don't know. We'll see. I would believe if there's any doubt that they would keep him out, considering how Colt McCoy played against the Niners last weekend, and also that they're playing a Panthers team that is starting PJ Walker. So I would not put it past the Cardinals to sit Kyler once again if he's not 100%. The Bucks, they're going to be without wide receiver Antonio Brown and tight end Rob Gronkowski once again this weekend. Wide receiver Chris Godwin is a game time decision, however. So got to pay attention to that one, especially in fantasy. If he's out, boost up Mike Evans. Big time boost for Mike Evans. And also, if he's out, I would look to, if you need someone from the Bucks, possibly look at Tyler Johnson, or else maybe go towards one of the tight ends, Cameron Brate or OJ Howard. I don't know if there's anyone else maybe Scotty Miller, but I wouldn't touch him though. So. All right, that's all the injury news. Let's get into transactions here. The Browns, they're throwing cash around, man, this week on the off for the big boys too. Signing guard Wyatt Teller to a 4-year, $56.8 million extension, and they signed guard Joel Bitonio to a 3-year, $48 million extension. So 7 years. Over $100 million combined for the two Cleveland guards this week, which is just ridiculous. I don't know. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. I know I had some negative thoughts on it, but
I think it's interesting really to see Cleveland really kind of be that aggressive with it. I'm interested to see how it works out, but there's a lot of football left to be played, and I'm really interested to see if Cleveland can really get a playoff run in the mix here.
Yeah, the negative thoughts I was alluding to there, I understand signing one. And I understand needing to have a quality offensive line. But at the same time, that is a lot of money to spend at the guard position when the guard position is not a premium position. Talk about premium positions: quarterback, left tackle, pass rusher. Those are the main three. So that's
That's a really good point, but you got to look at the 2016 Cowboys. I mean, look how great they did with an amazing offensive line. So I think an offense really does start with a good offensive line, but if you don't have the impact players on your offense, then there really does no purpose. But I think it could be good in the long run, knowing that you'll have those veteran guys there for a couple of years, building a very strong front for the defenses to go against.
Yeah, and I mean they have built that offensive line very well throughout the last couple of years, capping it off with the Jedrick Wills drafting last year, I believe it was. But also got to keep in mind where's the cap going to be when the Baker extension comes down the line next year? I believe it is that he is I believe next year is the first year he can be extended.
Right. Well, what do you think about that? What do you think about them releasing him?
Baker?
Yeah. Oh my God, not Baker. OBJ. Ouch.
We'll talk about OBJ in a little bit.
All right.
Yeah, the Baker extension though was another thing that I thought about when I saw these two extensions for the guards. I was like, well, where are they going to cut? What money from other parts of the roster are they going to cut out to make room for Baker? Now, we do have the cap projected to rise a lot next year and in 2023 when they kind of get back to the normal revenue stream, non-COVID revenue stream. But yeah, intriguing cap situation for the Browns there. The Titans, they released wide receiver Josh Reynolds this week, claimed off of waivers by the team with the number 1 waiver wire pick. The Detroit Lions got Josh Reynolds. They've needed wide receiver help all season, so why not take a flyer on Josh Reynolds? And it was interesting too because the Rams put in a claim for him. Former Ram, not re-signed this offseason, signed with the Titans before they traded for Julio. Rams tried to get him back, but Lions had number 1 waiver claim. So the Texans, they claimed running back Royce Freeman off of waivers from the Panthers. Interesting addition. They traded Mark Ingram. Still have Rex Burkhead, Phillip Lindsay, David Johnson. But why not add another running back? The Washington football team, they made a kicker change, releasing Chris Blewett and signing kicker Joey Sly. So the third now kicker for Washington, Dustin Hopkins, Chris Blewett, and now Joey Sly. The Broncos, they signed veteran linebacker Avery Williamson. Interesting depth signing there. Didn't work out in Pittsburgh after a trade from the Jets last year. The Bucks, they signed former Bears wide receiver Brashad Perriman, and he's a former Buck himself, being a free agent signing from Baltimore there. The Bucks also signed former Lions tight end Darren Fells. Both of those guys signed to the practice squad. Perriman, they said, expected to be activated from the practice squad sooner rather than later. I don't know if Fells is going to be activated from the practice squad. He might this weekend, but when Gronk comes back, I highly doubt they'll keep 4 tight ends on the active roster. So. All right. Already mentioned the Brian Hill signing for the Browns. So Cam Newton, before Cam Newton, the Panthers signed quarterbacks Matt Barkley and Cam Newton. I would much rather have Matt Barkley start this weekend for the Panthers than PJ Walker, but they're going to go with PJ Walker. But yes, Cam Newton has come home to Carolina. 2011, number 1 overall pick. took the Panthers to Super Bowl 50 after the 2015 season, 15-1 regular season record. But yeah, 1 year, $6 million, maxes out at $10 million for the rest of the season. So, yeah, it's intriguing.
What is your expectations going into it? I mean, I'm torn because I think the Panthers team who brought him to the Super Bowl 50, I think that was one of the best football teams, in the past couple of years. But now, I mean, it seemed like Carolina just hasn't been able to get started, and maybe especially Cam Newton.
Yeah, I don't know. We were talking a little bit pre-show, and I mentioned, they said he's 100%. They said because he hasn't played this year for anyone. He wasn't on, anyone's team. So he's been working out on his own, getting healthy. If he is 100%, Cam Newton is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. But like I said, I don't think he's been 100% since he got injured in I don't know, what was it, 2016, I believe, the year after the Super Bowl. I think was the first time he got severely injured and had to miss games with his ankle. But now, he was in New England, had a shoulder issue. So I don't know. We'll see.
But here's another issue too, though. He hasn't been working out there this summer, and that could also be an advantage or a disadvantage. Think about it. He may not have all the reps and the playbooks under his belt. He has no momentum riding into the start of the season. I don't know what's going to give you that momentum. Football is all about building, making good plays, and having a good starting point and letting the momentum roll over. And I don't see any of that with him. I don't see him being able to get it started again. He's not fresh out of college. He's becoming an older man, and I don't see him being able to make explosive plays like he once was able to.
I do think, though, the offense that they have in Carolina sets up very nicely for Cam Newton, because you look at what Joe Brady's claim to fame, the LSU 2020 national championship or 2019 national championship. And you saw what Joe Burrow did there. It's downfield passing game. Play action isn't too prevalent in the offense, but I think they're going to do a lot of stuff with Cam that they couldn't do with Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to help him, especially because he's already played with a lot of the guys on offense. He played with Christian McCaffrey. He played with DJ Moore. But I actually really think, and I'm happy I have held on to Robbie Anderson, because I mentioned the downfield passing game, and Robbie Anderson's had a terrible season so far. After last year, he was lights out. But I think Cam Newton is going to help Robbie Anderson a lot and run those deep go routes that we saw him hit Ted Ginn on a lot in that 2015 magical 15-1 season. So maybe that won't happen. Maybe it will, but I think it's more than likely going to happen than it won't. So
it'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah, for sure. And the Panthers are in it still. I mean, that's the crazy thing. Someone mentioned on Twitter, you look at the NFC standings, there is just a boatload of teams between 3 and 5 wins at the bottom of the NFC that are there's like 9 teams right now in contention for the wild card. I mean, yeah, it's still halfway, we still got a whole half of the season to go, and there haven't been teams that have necessarily pulled away yet, but it's crazy though how much parity there is, especially in the NFC. But I still think the Panthers got a shot at a wild card. And if they get a wild card, I think my preseason prediction of Matt Rule for Coach of the Year, I think we'll have a strong shot at it. But all right, the other big signing, name-wise anyways, I don't know if it's actually production-wise, but the Rams have signed wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. 1 year, $4.25 million. They're paying him $750,000 essentially. The 4.25 million is the max value. That's a lot of incentives, but really it's just $750K for the rest of the year. He's getting some money from the Browns still, so that's why they can afford to pay him not as much. So
Lots to unpack here. What do you think? Do you think it's a smart move? I mean, the Rams has got an explosive element to their wide receiver list now. I mean, I thought I was very impressed by that.
Again, OBJ is kind of one of those guys where I've never really been a big fan of, just because of his antics. You know, he's a little crybaby when he doesn't get the ball, and I think that's going to be an issue in LA. Actually, I was scared when he got signed because I was like, well, I have Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods in fantasy, dude. He better not take any of their targets.
Well, I think, I don't agree with his antics either, but that man can play and catch, and he can definitely run pretty fast. So, I mean, I think he's a definitely powerful element to that team. The question is, will he be able to stay there? I mean, he's had a rough couple of past seasons with antics and just events that were in his control. They weren't handled very correctly. So it'll be interesting to see how long he stays there. This is looking like a continuous pattern for him now. So I'm interested to see how long he lasts there.
Yeah, and I mean, he hasn't been able to stay on the field either. He's gotten injured every season that he was in Cleveland, all
right.
two plus seasons there. And he really hasn't been the dominant wide. He wasn't the dominant wide receiver the Browns thought they were getting when they traded for him. He hasn't been that guy since 2016, I think, or no, 2018, I believe, was his last season with New York.
Well, I don't really think he wanted to be in Cleveland anyway. I mean, I think he just didn't like it there. He didn't want to practice there, and he was at the bottom of the league in his opinion, and from his eyes.
That's what, and then you look at the numbers too with Cleveland. Baker Mayfield played better without OBJ on the field. The Browns had a winning record without OBJ on the field.
Right.
So was it him or was it Cleveland? I would say it was him. And people say that there's differing views right now. Some say, yes, OBJ is going to go in and wreck the culture of LA. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen because there's a lot of people in the NFL that respect Odell and fight for Odell and really love Odell. You saw it. I mean, when he wanted out of Cleveland, there was, a million people on social media saying free Odell. And one guy at the forefront of that, the biggest personality that the NBA has in LeBron James. So now everyone's in LA.
Look, exactly. And I think it's going to be, you can talk all this, but it's really going to come down to, can he be the football player he once was? And can he just play ball? Can you go up there and execute what your job is? And if he can do that, then I think it'll be fine. But there's just so much questions that I have right now for his future that I don't really know if he can get it going like he had it going. So that's what I'm interested to see.
Yeah, I'm also hoping that it doesn't hurt the development of Van Jefferson because Van Jefferson's been having a nice year as the third receiver there. And that's the thing. The Rams they run the most 3 wide receiver sets in the NFL right now. So I'm hoping that, I don't know how it's going to work. We'll have to see how the playing time works. Kupp and Woods are going to be on the field almost every single offensive play. But then it's who takes that third spot. Is it OBJ? Is it Van Jefferson?
Well, then you get into the debate, just because he has a big name, right? Does he get to start automatically? Or does he have to earn a spot? Is he going to make a scene if he doesn't get that third spot? Right. So it just comes down to his character and if he really wants to play football at a high level or if he just wants to play games all day. And that's going to be interesting to see.
Now it'll be like, all right, well, we're going to take Tyler Higbee off the field and just run 4 wide receivers sets like the Cardinals do. So,
right.
Update. I did get an update on Chris Carson here, not playing this week with his coming off IR from his neck injury. So, Alex Collins to start once again for Seattle at running back. All right. College pick standings here. If my computer wants to work. There we go. So, our guest picker last Friday, Riley, he ended up going. He couldn't beat Chris, but he did beat Mark and I. Riley went 25-11. I believe his best picks where he picked Purdue over Michigan State, Illinois over Minnesota, and Arkansas over Mississippi State, I think. But yeah, Chris gunned us last week, man. He railed us. The differing games last week, I was 0 for 2 in my Lone Wolves. I picked Hawaii to beat San Diego State and Eastern Washington to beat Montana State. Lost both. Chris, on the other hand, he went friggin' 4-0 in his Lone Wolves, man. He picked Boston College to beat Virginia Tech. He picked Texas A&M to beat Auburn, Arkansas to beat Mississippi State, and Marshall to beat FAU. So that's how Chris got us last week. But yeah, Chris now takes the throne at the top. 3 games up on Mark. I'm terrible. 10 games back. It's great times. So we'll see how you do if you do better than Riley did last week.
I'm interested. We'll see what we can do here.
All right, so starting off tonight, we have 2 games. Number 5 Cincinnati at USF. Bearcats getting 23 here, and we're all on Cincinnati. This is as most of the country is, I would assume.
I really want to see Cincinnati play a top 5 team. I really want to see him play any SEC team and just show them how we play at ball in the SEC. I think Cincinnati has been having a great run, but they just don't play anyone. They don't play anyone to the caliber of an SEC team, and you can see that what the playoff committee's ranked them at. I mean, undefeated is great, but I really just think Cincinnati was going to win this game, but they're not on the same level as some of our top dogs.
Yeah, I think you'll see style points from Cincinnati tonight.
I agree.
Unlike they had the last 2 weeks, or last 3, where they kind of struggled against Navy, Tulane, and Tulsa. They do have a game coming up, though. Next week, SMU comes to Cincinnati. That is a major game, as well as the conference championship, more than likely against Houston, will be 2 massive games for Cincinnati. Over-under is 58, and I'm going under. Not confident in USF's offense. 6 p.m. on ESPN2. The other game tonight, Wyoming at Boise State, both 5-4 here. Broncos getting 14, and we are all on the blue turf at Boise State here. The Wyoming they've been up and down, and so is Boise State, but Boise State's really turned it around from earlier in the season. I mean, they beat BYU. They did lose to Air Force, which I called, but yeah, 2 in a row here against. They beat Fresno. They didn't just beat; they destroyed Fresno State last week. So I don't think they'll have an issue with Wyoming here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna run with you guys here. I don't think there's gonna be any issue to them.
Over under is 49. Now that's interesting though, because Boise State's scoring 30 and Wyoming scoring 23 per game. Boise's giving up about 20. Wyoming's giving up 21. So I'm gonna go over. It might be very close. You might have to sweat it out, but I will say over 49 here. 9 p.m. on ESP or FS1. Tomorrow, starting us out here, New Mexico State at number 2, Alabama. Yeah, the Tide getting 51.5.
Hey, guys, I really think New Mexico State has a chance here. They've got a good young quarterback, so I really think that – no, Alabama all day.
Yeah. The ESPN Football Power Index giving New Mexico State a 0.1% chance of winning. I like it. I'll take it. No, but I will say this, though. Take the points with New Mexico State. Alabama, Nick Saban has a terrible record as a 50-point or more favorite. Take the points with New Mexico State. I will tell you that right now. Over-under is 67, and I'm going over. Yes, over 67.
You're gonna go over 67?
Yes.
I don't think New Mexico State even scores. I don't even think they get a field goal. I think it's gonna be a shutout.
They'll score.
We'll see.
12 p.m. SEC Network. Big Ten, number 6, Michigan in Happy Valley at Penn State. I was surprised at the line. When I first saw it, I was like, wow, the books, Vegas actually has given Penn State some niceties here. They're being real nice for Penn State, only giving Michigan 1.5 on the road for a noon kickoff. But yeah, I'm a Penn State fan. That's what I grew up on. So I'm sticking with my Nittany Lions coming off a win against Maryland. They had the defense to shut Cade McNamara in the run game down. It's just can Sean. And I do think we saw against Michigan State, Michigan's defense is sort of susceptible to the run game, which Penn State has not been good at all this year. But I think they're going to try to do it. And I don't know, maybe the home crowd can help the Nittany Lions get a win here.
Yeah, I think Penn State wins this one. I think they got nothing to lose. Michigan, I don't see that Jim Harbaugh has anything for it, to be honest with you. It'll be a good one to see, though.
Yeah, I think it'll come down. I kind of wish it was later in the day, but it's fine. I always am happy when the schedules work out where Penn State plays at one time and Georgia plays at another time, so I don't have to try to watch both at the same time. It's always nicer when that happens. So over-under is 49, and I'm going under the Penn State defense. Under 49. 12 p.m. on ABC. Big one in the Big 12. Number 8, Oklahoma at number 12, Baylor. We're on the Sooners. I was surprised Chris was on the Sooners. He had been the biggest promoter of Baylor this season. He had picked Baylor from the start of their run. And now that they lost to TCU last week, he's like, nope, switching boats, going to OU. Caleb Williams and co. I would like to see Oklahoma lose, though. I really would. It would make the Big 12 race that much more interesting, with Oklahoma having one conference loss. But if the Big 12 wants to stay in the college football playoff conversation, they have to have Oklahoma win out. So
it'll be interesting to see. I think that Oklahoma's gonna have a tough game, but I think they'll come through. But it's gonna be a good game to watch.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know how many times I've picked against Baylor and been wrong. So maybe, but the over/under is 62, and I'm hitting the over button. It's a Big 12 game.
No defense in those Big 12 games.
12 p.m. on Fox. Big noon kickoff. SEC, Mississippi State at number 17, Auburn. Auburn coming off the loss against A&M. We're all on Bo Nix. We're on the Bo Nix train at home. So the Pirates having a tough time this year.
Look, Auburn had a really big chance last weekend to prove something and maybe have a interesting SEC West, but they couldn't get it done against Texas A&M. And Texas A&M is a really good team. We'll get into that later. But I think Auburn takes it at home. It's just a matter of Bo Nix shows up, and he's been great at home. but you can't ever rule out SEC team, especially with Mississippi State. They've got nothing to lose, and I think they give Auburn a real hard fight. But I think Auburn wins at the end of the day.
You got they got 4 more chances to get bowl eligible, or 3 more chances to get bowl eligible. Does Mississippi State so? Over under is 50. I don't like the 50. It's in that intermediate category. But I think over, I mean, I don't know. Probably I would think over. Just depends on what Auburn's offense is looking like in this game. 12 p.m. on ESPN. Big Ten Northwestern at number 21, Wisconsin. Yeah, the Badgers, man. The Badgers are rolling. They are on a 5-game win streak. Ever since they got throttled by Michigan 38-17. Yeah, 5 straight. They haven't given up more than 14 points in all 5 of their games. And that includes 2 ranked wins against Purdue and Iowa. They just railed Rutgers last week 52-3. So Northwestern's on the struggle bus, and Wisconsin's going to take advantage here.
I think Wisconsin, but is it by 24.5? Is it by more than 24.5 points? I don't know. We'll have to see, but I'll take Wisconsin.
It's actually number 18, Wisconsin. I don't know why I had 21 on there. Over under is a nice 41. It's just that, the fact of will Northwestern, how much will they score if anything. I mean, Wisconsin's defense is, like I said, they've been lights out, and Northwestern's only scoring 18 points per game. Wisconsin's given up 15 on the season. So under, I guess.
Yeah, that'd be a safe bet.
I mean, Northwestern's not terrible in defense. They're giving up 26 points per game. Wisconsin's only scoring 25. So under, yeah. 12 p.m. on ESPN2. American action here. UCF at SMU. I was kind of surprised no one went with the Knights being 6-3. SMU's lost 2 in a row, which I'm very distraught about because I was high on them. They started out 7-0. Then they lose back-to-back close games they've lost by a combined 10 points the last 2 weeks. 7 against Houston, 3 against Memphis. Luckily for them, they come back home now after 2 straight road games. Tanner Mordecai is my dude, their quarterback. So Mustangs all the way. They'll cover 7.
They're going to have to. They want to stay competitive, and I think they will.
Over under 61. Yeah. I'm going under. Probably not a good bet, but I'm just going to say under. 12 p.m. on ESPNU. Other American game here. Houston at Temple. Yeah, the Owls are terrible. And Cougars are going to have a good time in Philadelphia this weekend. Temple's another one of those teams. They're scoring 18 points per game on offense, giving up 36 on defense. That is quite the disparity. So Clayton Tune and the Cougars, like I said, they're going to have a nice little day in Philadelphia tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going to ride with you guys here. I don't think Houston's going to have any trouble.
Over under is 54. I'm hitting the over button. Houston by a lot. I mean, they're 24.5 point spread. They'll probably cover. Anyways, over 54 though. Houston might do it themselves. And I don't know if you know. Did you know that Temple has the Georgia boy at quarterback? Everyone's favorite quarterback from last season.
Who?
The season opener last year. Dwan Mathis is the starting.
Oh gosh.
Temple. Yeah, 12 p.m. ESPN Plus. Pac-12 number 24 Utah at Arizona. Cats, man, the Wildcats, they're coming off. They're on a high right now. They got their first win in like 600 days or something like that. They were like 0-19, and finally got a win, a 10-3 win against a COVID depleted California team last weekend. So 10-3, that was the score. Utah's good, man. They're rolling. They railed Stanford 52-7 last Friday, and have no qualms that they'll do the same to Arizona this weekend.
I agree. There's nothing that helps a football team more than getting a win after you haven't won one in a minute, but they're going to be outclassed by Utah.
Cameron Rising and co for the Utes. 24 points there. Over under again, 54. And I'm going under. No, Arizona, I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to score enough points. 2 p.m. Pac-12 Network. Sunbelt, Georgia State at Coastal Carolina. And yes, the Chanticleers. Grayson McCall is out for a while. I believe they said I don't remember if they said the Texas State game next weekend or the South Alabama game the last weekend of the regular season. I can't remember which one they said he was going to be back for. He will be back, though, just not going to play in this game. They've gotten wins against Troy and he played against Troy. They got a win last weekend with Bryce Carpenter starting against Georgia Southern. So they should be able to sustain against mid-level competition in the Sun Belt, but especially at home on the teal turf.
I used to go to Georgia State, and this was our hardest game of the season. Georgia State's put up a great fight this year. They almost beat Auburn, and they showed some true power. But like Coastal Carolina, they're just going to be outmatched and outplayed. They're going to win by more than 10.5 for sure. Take the spread.
Yeah, Shamari Jones at running back, and a highly likely combination at wide receiver, tight end. Love those two guys. Over under 52. I'm going under. Like I said, Coastal won last week with Bryce Carpenter at quarterback, but they're not the same offense that they are when Grayson McCall is playing. And I think, like you said, Georgia State will put up a little bit of a fight. So under 52, though. 2 p.m. ESPN Plus. Another Sun Belt game here, South Alabama at Appalachian State. Yes, we are all on the Mountaineers. USA is struggling a little bit this year with former South Carolina and Utah quarterback Jake Bentley at the controls. But Chase Bryce, Duke transfer, and former Clemson quarterback as well, Chase Bryce, having a nice season in Boone, North Carolina, and they'll get the win here.
Yeah, I think App State's got it. There should be no problem there with South Alabama.
Over-under is 52 once again. And this one I'm actually going over, though. I think the over hits 36 points for the App offense, 28.5 for the Jags offense. So over 52 here. 2:30 ESPN Plus. Go.
Oh, the game of the weekend.
Dogs. Number 1, Georgia, 20-point favorites at Tennessee. It's yeah. Everyone is talking about this game right now and saying, "Oh, Tennessee's got a chance. They're going to be Georgia's toughest opponent this season up to this date." Possibly.
There's no way.
The only thing I will say is that Georgia does struggle with mobile quarterbacks, and that's exactly what Hendon Hooker is for Tennessee. But unless they're throwing golf balls at Kirby like they did against Lane Kiffin, I don't think Tennessee's gonna win.
I think it's going to be an SEC matchup. It's going to be it's going to have a lot to do. I think Georgia is a heavy favorite going into it. I think they will win. This is a matter of keeping the discipline, not throwing interceptions, and just being able to stop the mobile quarterback. But we have the best defense in the country, and I think we will continue that streak and go 10-0 here.
Yeah.
Dogs by 9.
JT Daniels. Everyone I've talked to, man, we want JT. Kirby's just got to give the people what they want.
So, I've been a JT guy ever since Stetson Bennett lost to Kentucky last year. And JT has started, he's undefeated. But you got to give Stetson Bennett credit. I mean, he's still led the team and he's done a pretty good job. And then we saw last weekend, JT Daniels went in, threw an interception. So, I think it's just a lack of reps there. I'm still a big believer in JT Daniels, but you cannot lie that Stetson Bennett has done a good job and still propel this team to undefeated team.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. I mean, if the Florida game, I thought was a big thing where you saw how Stetson could struggle.
Absolutely.
And if they do that this game on the road in a very tough environment in Rocky Top, I don't know. I'm not saying we're going to lose, but I'm just saying Stetson better come out ready to play.
And all of our players have to come out ready to play. Even though they think, even though we've clinched the East, that does not mean we got to earn that. We got to earn that title of being the number one country in the number one team in the country. So we got to stay ready. We got to stay humble going out there against Tennessee, because just like that happened a couple years ago, there's always going to be a game, and it's always a challenge in the SEC. So it'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah, and I think at this point, people will probably say, and I'd probably agree, Kentucky's probably the second best team in the East. But I would definitely put Tennessee up there in contention with that next team after Georgia. Over under is 56, and it's under. I mean, I don't care how much Tennessee's been scoring. When you're playing Georgia, it's an automatic under.
Do you take the spread, though? Do you take the spread for Georgia?
No, I like Tennessee plus 20.
Yeah.
They didn't cover last week. I mean, granted, that was 40.5. But I don't think Georgia has covered. Actually, no. I think they've covered more than they haven't. But in SEC play, I would be interested to see what the numbers are against the spread. I'm not sure exactly what they are, but
especially now as we get later in the season, that just why would we're not trying to blow out this team. We got to think of the SEC championship coming up and hopefully the college football playoffs. So there's no point to just start putting on the pressure on these teams like this.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing. Georgia's the complete opposite of Cincinnati. Cincinnati needs to blow teams out, get the style points. But everyone has so much respect for Georgia and their defense that it doesn't matter how we win, as long as we're undefeated or 11-1 with a win in the SEC champions, they're gonna get in the playoff. So,
to be honest with you, I don't even think Cincinnati could beat Tennessee. You put Cincinnati against Tennessee, I think that's gonna be the hardest game, and I think it's gonna be a dogfight. I really do. And just watch what happens to Tennessee after Georgia plays them this weekend, and I'll tell you how I feel about Cincinnati.
All right. Over under is 56. And I already said under. Never mind. 3:30 SEC on CBS. Let's go to Big Ten. Another massive game here. Number 19 Purdue at number 4 Ohio State. And yes, I am riding with the Giant Killers this year. Purdue is 2-0 against top 5 teams. They beat number 2 Iowa. They beat number 3 Michigan State. And now they are going to go into Columbus at the Horseshoe and beat number 4 Ohio State. Come at me, people.
I'd love to see it, but it's not going to happen. Ohio State wins by miles today on Saturday.
At least Purdue, the least they will do is they will cover. Ohio State struggled last week a little bit against Nebraska. Actually, I shouldn't say a little bit, a lot. Last 2 games for Ohio State, against Penn State and against Nebraska, they've only won by 9 each game. So close games. This one will be their toughest test since Oregon, which they lost at home. So, yeah. And this starts the gauntlet for Ohio State, man. They got to play Michigan State, Michigan after this. So I'm saying they're going to be looking ahead to Michigan. They're going to be looking ahead to Michigan State next week. They're not going to think about Purdue. Purdue's not anything to them until Aiden O'Connell throws for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns against the terrible Ohio State secondary. Just saying. Over under is 63, and I'm hitting the over button.
Ooh.
Yeah, over. 3:30 ABC. See, this one's going to be the one that I'm going to have on my computer while the dog game's on the TV. Minnesota at number 20, Iowa. Now, see, the Purdue game is where it started my lone wolves because I got a lot of them in the second half of the college picks, and I like it. So, yeah, Minnesota at number 20, Iowa. I'm on the Gophers, man. Everyone said, how are you on the Gophers? They just lost 13-7, I think it was. They just lost 14-6 against Illinois last week. That's fine. PJ Fleck is a great coach, and I think he'll have the offense back up. Iowa's not flashy either. I mean, they just they're coming off, they lost to Purdue when they were the number 2 team in the country. They lost to Wisconsin when they were the number 9 team in the country. Now they're the number 20 team after they beat Northwestern by 5 points. 17-12 they won last weekend. So neither offense has been lighting it up, but I'm going with PJ Fleck. Row the damn boat.
I'm gonna have to agree with you. I don't think Iowa. I think they're just like a lost dog, and they need to find a home. And I don't think this is it. I think Minnesota takes it.
This is a great over under. I love Iowa games for that reason right now. Over under is 37. And sure, under. Why not? Like I said, both offenses are terrible right now. Iowa in their last 3 games has scored a combined 31 points. And Minnesota, they've scored a lot more than that because last week was actually an outlier. Because before that, Minnesota had won 4 straight, scoring 20. They beat Purdue. They beat Purdue. So, yeah. And they also, when you look at common opponents, Iowa, I mentioned, beat Northwestern 17-12 last weekend. Well, 2 weeks ago, Minnesota beat Northwestern 41-14. And both were at Northwestern. So, yeah. 3:30 on Big Ten Network. Conference USA, Southern Miss at number 23 UTSA. It's a screen full of Roadrunners. Sincere McCormick, man, I love him. Running back for the Roadrunners, man. He is a monster. Him and Frank Harris, the quarterback there, and along with Zachary Franklin, the wide receiver, that triumvirate on offense is electric, and Southern Miss ain't got a chance.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with you guys. I've never even heard of these teams, but UTSA, this looks like they're going to get it done this weekend.
You never heard of Southern Mississippi and Texas?
I heard of Southern Mississippi, but I mean, come on now. Let's get back to the SEC.
Texas San Antonio, dude. They're ranked. Number 23, man. I'm happy for them. I've been riding the Roadrunners since we started this show last fall. Over-under is 55, and I'm going under. I have no confidence in the Southern Miss offense to score. They're good Lord. They're scoring 13.7 points per game on offense. And they're giving up 30. UTSA scored 40 points per game, man. They are, like I said, they are something else on offense. 3:30 ESPN Plus. All right, nice Conference USA matchup here. UAB at Marshall, both 6-3. Chris is lone wolf in the herd. He got them right last week when they went to FAU and beat the Owls. But Mark and I were on the Blazers. We believe in Alabama, Birmingham. And I didn't have too much of a reasoning for this pick. It was kind of just a gut thing where I felt like the Blazers can go into West Virginia, into Huntington, and beat Marshall.
I think it's going to be a dogfight, but I think UAB comes out on top here.
Something about the Alabama talent, right?
Something to do with that Alabama water. They drink down there, huh?
Over-under is, again, 55, and I'm going to go under. Not very confident in that answer, but yeah, under 55, I'm guessing. 3:30 on CBS Sportsnet. And actually, I did have one reasoning. The quarterback play, just looking at touchdown interception ratio, Dylan Hopkins for the Blazers there, 11-4. Grant Wells for Marshall, 1-1. It's 11 touchdowns, 11 interceptions for Grant Wells there. The only thing is they got to stop the run game. Rasheen Ali for Marshall, I mean, he's having a season. 17 rushing touchdowns so far. Along with some kickoff return touchdowns. It's ridiculous. 3:30 on CBS Sportsnet. Sunbelt, Louisiana, 8-1 at Troy. I was surprised they were only 6.5. But the Raging Cajuns, they should get it done. Troy's always a tough out, man. Again, it's an Alabama team, so. But yeah, I like the Raging Cajuns. They've been rolling. Had a tough one against Georgia State last weekend, but got it done 21-17. Maybe Troy's got a chance, but
yeah, I'm right with you guys. I think the Rage Cajuns have had a great season so far, and I think they keep it going on Saturday.
Yeah, Levi Lewis is my guy. I love him for Louisiana. Over-under is 4, and then I'm going over. I like the quarterback matchup. Gunnar Watson for Troy versus, like I said, Levi Lewis. Or no, it's not Gunnar Watson. It's Taylor Powell, I guess. I thought Gunnar Watson was the starter. Apparently not. Oh, no, it is. Yeah. I don't know why Taylor Powell is the leading passer. Maybe Watson's been – oh, yeah, Watson's been hurt. That's why. But he's playing this week, apparently. So, yeah, should be a good quarterback matchup there. 3:30 ESPN Plus. A lot of 3:30 games on the slate this weekend. Maryland at number 7, Michigan State. Yeah, I feel bad when we have Maryland every week, man. We were on them a lot early in the year, and then they started actually playing people. and also, I mean, I said it when he first got hurt, but the injury to wide receiver Dante Demas Jr. Was just terrible for the Maryland offense. They haven't been able to do a lot since he got hurt. And Talia Tagovailoa has been turning the ball over, which has not been helpful at all. And Michigan State's, they're coming with a vengeance too. Lost to Purdue last weekend. They're still sitting okay in terms of college football playoff, number 7. If they go on, win the Big Ten, one-loss Big Ten champ, I think, gets in. So they still got a shot. They still got a lot of stuff to play for here.
Yeah, they're gonna have to play hard, but I think Michigan State takes it. You know, they've shown that they're a pretty good team, but they gotta finish the game, finish it up.
Yeah, and I'm hoping, I'm praying, man. I'm hoping Kenneth Walker can continue to be amazing, and I hope he wins the Heisman. Screw the quarterbacks. Go win the Heisman, Kenneth Walker.
Now, Jordan Davis needs to win the Heisman this year.
They're not going to get the defensive lineman.
Defensive tackle.
If anything, my vote for a Georgia defensive player to win it would be Nakobe Dean. Because he actually has the stats. That line, linebackers get the stats. Tackle, interceptions, fumble recoveries, touchdowns, whatever. Over under is 61. I was kind of surprised it was that high. I'm going under. I think Michigan State will score a bunch, but not that much that it'll go over 61. 4 p.m. on Fox. SEC number 11, Texas A&M at number 15, Ole Miss.
And what a great football game this weekend. I mean, wow.
And it's in Oxford. And I'm lone wolf and the Rebels. That's because I'm going with better quarterback, man. Matt Corral versus Zane Calzada. I don't think that's even an option. A&M is going to be favored. Of course they're going to be favored. They already beat Alabama this year, coming off a win against Auburn. Ole Miss has been so-so, but they're still 7-2. They're still winning games. And like I said, I'm going with a better quarterback.
Well, I'm going to go Texas A&M here. This is going to be a battle, one definitely to remember, but I think Texas A&M, they come out strong after this. I think Ole Miss has a bunch of great players and has a great opportunities to strike, but I think they'll tire out. Texas A&M will take advantage of that going into the second half of the football game.
Yeah, and A&M, just like I was kind of saying about Michigan State, A&M's got a lot to play for still too. I mean, they are just praying that Alabama slips up and that they can get into the SEC championship game, which I hope they do. I know people like Mark. There are Georgia fans like Mark. I don't know what your stance is, but I know Mark made his case that he wants Bama. He wants Georgia to have to beat Bama to win the SEC. I'm on the side of I want the easiest path to the college football playoff that I can get, and that was Auburn until Texas A&M beat them. Now it's Texas A&M, but we need Auburn to beat Alabama in the Iron Bowl, essentially, unless Auburn slips up against New Mexico State,
And don't forget, that game is in Auburn. The Iron Bowl this year is in Auburn. So, personally, I want to play Alabama. I really just want to see them lose and cry all about it. And go Dogs. I think Texas A&M gets it done.
Over-under is 57, which is interesting because you have a high-powered offense at Ole Miss. You have a good defense on the A&M side. So which one breaks? I don't know.
I'd take the under on that. This is going to be a good defensive match here.
7 p.m. on ESPN. Number 9, Notre Dame at Virginia in Charlottesville. Yeah. Virginia's going to have a tough time the rest of the year. Brennan Armstrong injured. I believe yes. Yeah, I don't think Brennan Armstrong's playing in this game for the Cavaliers, so it's gonna be tough. Notre Dame, I have no idea how they're 8-1, but yeah, the Irish are gonna beat them.
Yeah, I agree on that. No, there shouldn't be any problem here for Notre Dame.
Over under is 64, and I'm going under. Like I said, I highly doubt the offense if Brennan Armstrong is not playing quarterback. They took a nosedive whenever he got hurt against BYU, which was quite an amazing game. I was on the losing end of that. I had Virginia, but I mean, how can you go wrong with? I think there was like 119 points scored in that game or something like that. There was 80 points scored at halftime. It's ridiculous. Yeah, so I'm going under 64, 7:30 ABC. So I'm assuming this is Herb Street and Fowler here, which is a weird game for them to call. I would think they would be on the A&M game instead, but or this next game, which is better than this one. But it's Notre Dame. They're like, oh, Notre Dame, we'll put them on the freaking ABC game.
Where is college football? Where is game day this weekend?
Is it here?
Let me check.
Oh no, it's Waco. I think it's for the Oklahoma Baylor game.
Yeah.
I believe so. Number 16, NC State ACC action here at number 12, Wake Forest. It's funny that it's very funny that Mark's lone wolfing the Wolfpack here because he shits on NC State so much, and yet he's lone wolfing. He's not lone wolfing because he is joining the Wolfpack. But that doesn't matter. I'm going with the better offense, the better quarterback, the better everything, except maybe defense. NC State's probably a better defense. Wake Forest has been a seed all year. I mean, they haven't been able to stop anyone. They've just been outscoring everyone, which is fine. And I think they can do that. And I think they can win the ACC by doing that. But yeah, Demon Deacons at home get the win.
Yeah, I agree. I think Wake Forest, it's going to be a good matchup, but they end up coming through with it.
And they're another team that's going to be on a mission coming off a loss to North Carolina last week. Yeah, Sam Hartman, ridiculous. Devin Leary had a nice season though too. Over under is 67. Over.
You're taking the over on that?
Yes. It's a Wake Forest game. They can't stop anyone.
Well, that's true.
7:30 on ACC Network. Number 25, Arkansas at LSU. And yes, I'm lone wolfing the Tigers. They put up quite a fight against Alabama last weekend, and I'm rolling with Max Johnson and the defense for the Tigers. They're playing, I believe strongly that they're playing very hard for Coach O, knowing that he's not going to be there after this year. But they want to get him to a bowl game, and I think they're going to move one step closer by beating the Razorbacks.
I think Arkansas is a really good team, but something in my gut's telling me to go with LSU here. Like you said, I think they've got a bunch of things to fight for, and they're at home, and I think they're going to push to this one. I think they get Arkansas. Go Tigers.
Death Valley, quite a place to play, huh?
Yeah.
Over under is 59. Under. And 7:30 SEC Network. Big 12, TCU at number 10, Oklahoma State. And TCU, man, coming off their first game without Gary Patterson. And they beat Baylor. So they're trying to win against ranked teams for back-to-back weeks. There's no chance, though. Going to Stillwater at night, that is no. With a freshman quarterback at that, Yeah, no.
I agree. Oklahoma State takes it.
Oklahoma State will win and cover. Over under is 55 and over.
I think it's gonna be close, but I think they'll hit it.
Yeah. Oklahoma State, I think, will score the majority of the points. TCU might just need a touchdown. That might need that. I think that might be all they need. 8 p.m. on Fox. Pac-12, Washington State at number 3, Oregon. And strong Ducks showing here. All those.
As much as I want, Washington State to beat Oregon, I don't see it happen. I think the Oregon Ducks, they get it done this weekend.
Yeah, the Washington State has been interesting, man. They, ever since their head coach was fired, they've played very much better without him. And 2 weeks ago, they had a bye last week, so they're coming in fresh, at least to Eugene. But 2 weeks ago, I was very excited. They beat Arizona State. That was the first game after he got fired. And I told the guys, I lone wolfed Washington State that game. They were a 16-point underdog. And I told them, Chris was like, why are you taking a 16-point underdog? I'm like, because I know Washington State's been playing so much better since he got fired. Actually, that wasn't the first game. That was their second game, I think it was. They only lost to BYU by 2 points. I mean, they've got something there, but not against Oregon.
No, not against Oregon. And even though I don't think Oregon is that good of a team, but I mean they're 8-1, and I think they're going to be strong enough to handle Washington State pretty handily.
Over under is 58 and under. The Oregon defense, dude. Oregon defense.
I think that was going to be close again. I think there's definitely going to be some offense in this game, but I'm not sure if it goes over that.
Kayvon Thibodeau, that's all you got to know. 10:30 on ESPN. Mountain West, Nevada at number 22, San Diego State. Chris Lone Wolf and the Aztecs. I say no chance, dude. Not with my first love at quarterback, Carson Strong. He is a monster. Throws it about 40 times a game-ish. And, I mean, he is – I don't know if he's the number 1 quarterback in the next draft. But he should be in contention, definitely.
I'm getting a weird feeling on this one. I'm going to have to go San Diego State. They're at home, and I think they can pull it off.
San Diego State's quarterbacks are terrible. Absolutely terrible. Now, they did beat – and I was mad because last week I was this close to getting a win against them. I lone wolfed Hawaii against San Diego State last week, and they only beat Hawaii by 7 points. And that was because Hawaii had a stupid – I don't even know what they were doing at the end of the game, throwing a pass for 5 yards inbounds with no timeouts with about 13 seconds to go, and couldn't go up in time to spike it to get one more shot at the end zone when they were at like the 23-yard line. I was like, dude, are you kidding me? I don't understand how you do that, but I put that in the wrong spot. Over under for this game is a nice 46. And I don't know. I'm gonna go over. I think Nevada can score at least 28. So over. $10:30 CBS Sportsnet. Last FBS game here is Utah State at San Jose State. And we're all the Aggies. I have no idea why San Jose State is favored probably because they're at home. But again, when you look at the numbers, I have no idea how they'd be favored.
Yeah, I'm gonna ride with you guys. I'm gonna go with Utah State here into this one.
Yeah, the offense, Logan Bonner and company, they're putting up 476 yards per game, scoring almost 32. San Jose State's only scoring 21. And the issue, too, with San Jose State is when you look at their last 5 games, their last 4 have all been one-score games. They lost to Nevada by 3 last week, beat Wyoming by 6, beat UNLV by 7, and then lost to San Diego State in double overtime by 6. So that was their last 4. I mean, I don't know. But like I said, it's probably because they're at home, but 5.5 is or 4.5 is a friggin' lot, I think, for the Spartans. 10:30 FS1. I don't think we've ever had that many 10:30 games, but
That's a lot.
all right, FCS game of the week here, big one. Top 10 matchup, number 7 Eastern Washington at number 6 UC Davis. And I was shocked. I very much was shocked that no one went with the higher ranked team and the team with the better record. We had Eastern Washington last week when we had 2 FCS games of the week. And they lost to Montana State. It was that was a 4-5 matchup, I believe. Montana State was 4, Washington State was 5, something like that. Or Eastern Washington. But yeah, I'm on the better quarterback. Like I said last week with my lone wolf of Eastern Washington. Eric Barrier, the quarterback, man, he is something else. Merritt, their running back, has scored 14 rushing touchdowns this year. Hunter Rodriguez for UC Davis has only a 7-5 touchdown interception ratio. The only thing is, Eastern Washington's on a 2-game losing streak. But those 2 losses have been by a combined 4 points. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna ride with you guys on this one. I'm not really familiar with this team, but based on everything you said, I think losing 2 in a row, I think that really hurts team's ego after winning 7 in a row. So I think they'll come out strong. The question is, will UC Davis be ready for that? So.
Yeah, and it's tough now because Eastern Washington's going to have a hard time getting into the FCS playoffs, being that they're 4th in their own conference. Now, I mean, the Big Sky Conference is loaded right now. Montana State, 8-1, Sacramento State, 7-2, coming out of nowhere, at least in my mind. UC Davis, 8-1, Eastern Washington, 7-2, Montana, 7-2. So Big Sky is freaking loaded right now. And hopefully this will give Eastern Washington a better chance of making the playoffs. Okay, that is our college picks here. Let's move on to NFL pick standings here. Tough week for Chris, man. He, lost his lead to Mark. Mark is now up by 1 game. I gained 3 games on Chris, so I am now out of the league by 4. 3 games back at Chris. But yeah, I like it. Games we differed on last week for NFL. Mark lone wolfed the Browns to beat the Bengals. Chris lost both of his lone wolves. He had the Texans to beat the Dolphins and the Packers to beat the Chiefs. And then I got my lone wolf right. I had the Falcons beating the Saints. So on to NFL picks here. Starting off, Lions at the Steelers. Great game. But yeah, the Steelers are too good. And they're at home. Defense, and Najee Harris.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Steelers get it done. Feel bad for the Lions, but no, they're not going to pull through this weekend.
Over under is 43. And, yeah, I'm gonna go under. I feel like this sets up for kind of what the Eagles did to the Lions. I think it's going to be a big dose of Najee Harris because you saw when the Eagles played Lions, all they did was run the ball and they blew them out like 41-6. And I don't think it's going to be that, but I think the Steelers should take that and run with it. Pun intended. All right, Falcons at the Cowboys here. I was highly thinking about it, but I couldn't pick the Cowboys to lose two in a row against mediocre teams in the Broncos and the Falcons. I already got, like I said, I got the Falcons right last week in a lone wolf against the Saints. I'm not picking them this week though, when they got to go to Dallas.
Yeah, I being a Georgia boy, I'm gonna have to pick the Falcons here. I really hope for them. I think we can hopefully turn our season around, but it's gonna be a tough game. I do think it's gonna be close. So we'll see. Hopefully, the Falcons can pull through for it.
Yeah, I definitely do like the +9 though for Atlanta. I think that's a pretty good number at this point. Over under is 55 though, Grayson. How do you feel about that?
I'm gonna take the under on that. I just think it's gonna be a very calculated game, and I don't think it's gonna go over that. I think it's really gonna come down to mistakes on defense, really, and offense, and really just making the most of those turnovers. But we'll have to see how the offense goes on the Falcons. We've been good some games, and we also couldn't be able to get it started. So we'll have to see how we play going to Dallas. It's gonna be interesting, but I think it's gonna be under.
All right. Saints, pretty big matchup here. Saints at the Titans. It is Trevor Siemian once again for New Orleans. Almost was very close to bringing them back against the Falcons last week. Defense let up at the end, but Chris is biased. He is a Jets fan by trade, but he also is a Saints fan as well because of Drew Brees when he was there. But no, the Titans are probably the hottest team in the NFL right now. And I don't think they're going to lose at home to the Saints, to a non-Kamara, non-Jameis Winston Saints team.
Yeah, I agree. I think Tennessee comes away with this one victorious.
Over under is 44.
That's a tough line.
Yeah. I feel like I'm going all unders right now, but under. Yeah, the Tennessee defense is playing very well. And despite their weakness in their secondary, Trevor Siemian's not the quarterback to be able to exploit that a lot, especially with who are even the Saints receivers? Does anyone know? I mean, you got guys like Deontay Harris, Marquez Callaway, and Mr. Kevin White running around out there. So, all right, AFC South battle here. Jags at the Colts. Jags coming off the biggest upset of the year, beating Buffalo and Jacksonville. But they got to go to Indianapolis. This is not going to be fun for Trevor Lawrence. And I believe Jonathan Taylor, Carson Wentz, Michael Pittman will have amazing games.
I agree. I think it's a bad momentum swing for the Jaguars. They've been doing great so far. They've really kind of started turning things around. But going to the Colts is going to be a hard game for them. So I definitely think the Colts walk away with this one victorious.
Over under is 48, and I'm going over this one. I mean, we saw what the Colts did to the Jets, and I don't think it's going to be anything I think it's going to be close to that in this game. A romp for Indianapolis. Browns at the Patriots, 5-4 matchup here. And like I said early, I was just like, I hate that everyone took the Browns because that means Patriots are going to win now. So, yeah.
I think the Browns come away victorious on this one. I really do. I think they got a good thing going. I think that think they can really take advantage of this team.
Yeah, no Nick Chubb. It'll be Dearness Johnson at running back. He played well against the Broncos in his only other start this year. Patriots defense is something else, and it'll be a tough game for sure in Foxborough. I think the Cleveland defense is the difference, though. Cleveland defense, Myles Garrett and company get the dub there. Over under is 45, and I'm going under. Like I said, I think both defenses are pretty solid. AFC East matchup here: Bills at the Jets. And sorry, Chris, going back down the rabbit hole. I don't think it's going to be as bad as that Thursday night game against the Colts, but yeah, no. Buffalo is going to get back on track here after a terrible game in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I agree. I think Buffalo Bills, they take this one. The New York Jets are having one hell of a hard time. So they're not going to win this one.
The only bad thing for me, I mentioned that Jets third place AFC East finished bet. The only bad thing is if they lose this game, they drop to fourth because the Dolphins have won 2 in a row, and the Jets would be a half game back of the Dolphins because the Dolphins haven't had their bye yet. So I'm gonna need the Jets to win some more games the end of the year and the Dolphins to keep losing. So over under is 48. I'm going under. Granted, it is the legend Mike White playing in this game, but the Buffalo defense is, I don't know off the top of my head exactly, but I think they are the best defense in a lot of categories this year. So, yeah, under 48. Last 1 o'clock game here. The Bucks at Washington football team. The rematch of the NFC wildcard game where Taylor Heineke was so close to beating Tampa Bay and beating Tom Brady in the playoffs. Couldn't get it done. At least they can say we lost to the eventual Super Bowl champs in the wild card game, and we took them to the brink. But no, the Washington defense has been absolutely terrible this year, and I think Tom Brady's going to have a nice field day in Washington D.C.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Buccaneers, they take this one. I think they run with it.
That's again. I was talking daily fantasy earlier. Again, I'm putting Tom Brady, Chris Godwin, if he plays, Mike Evans in a whole bunch of daily fantasy plays this weekend. My top daily fantasy plays, any Bucks offensive players, any Colts offensive players, and I like the Cowboys offense this weekend. And I think that's it. You could do a lot of Steelers players too if you want against the Lions. So I don't know. I'm not that good at daily fantasy. I did win $47 a couple weeks ago though. All right, over under is 51. And I'm actually going over. Like I said, I think the Bucks are going to score a bunch.
I agree. I think Tom Brady's really he's going to have, like you said, have a field day. I think they will get it done.
Yeah, I think at least 28 to 35 is the bare minimum they're going to score. So that leaves 23 to 16 points that the Washington would have to score. Maybe not. I don't know. All right. 405 games here. Panthers at the Cardinals. Again, it's PJ Walker starting for the Panthers this week. Cam just got there, so Cardinals 9-1. Go ahead. Just, I hate it because it's one of my teams, but again, it's they. Regardless of whether it's Kyler Murray or Colt McCoy, it's at Arizona, and I don't think they have a chance.
Yeah, Cardinals walk away with this one. No problems at all.
That would be quite the matchup, though. PJ Walker versus Colt McCoy. Who would have seen that one coming at the beginning of the year? All right. The over-under is 44. And I'm going under. I mean, the Cardinals scored, I think, 45 last week against the Niners, or 40-something. But, yeah, no. Again, I have no confidence that the Panthers can score with PJ Walker under center. I wouldn't be surprised if PJ Walker plays so terribly that Matt Barkley is playing in the second half.
That'd be an interesting play, and I think that's a possibility, but we'll have to see how it turns out.
I've told people that I would be more comfortable with Matt Barkley starting than I would PJ Walker.
Well, yeah, maybe.
All right. Yeah, under 44 there. Other 405 game, Vikings at the Chargers. Yes, I'm lone wolfing Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings in LA at SoFi Stadium. Again, come at me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go against you. I think the Chargers take it at home. I really do. I think they can get it done.
Yeah, I just think the Vikings are not a 3-5 team.
No, I agree.
they have played such a tough schedule, and I think they got to break through at some point. They should have beaten the Ravens last week. They've missed. They've been in. I don't know how many one-score games have they been in. 1, 2. Every game except one this year has been a one-score game for the Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, whew.
Yeah, their losses, 3 points to the Ravens last week, 4 points to the Cowboys 2 weeks ago. And then week 1 and week 2, when they lost by 3 to the Bengals and 1 to the Cardinals. Oh, and then they lost by 7 to the Browns as well. But I mean, they've played 3 overtime games this year already. It's a sweat every week for the Vikings. But yeah, I think they can get it done here. All right, over-under is 54, and I'm going over. It's pretty big over-under for NFL games, but I'm hitting the over button.
It's gonna be close. I mean, these lines are these are tough. I mean, it's gonna be a close one.
All right, 425 games. Eagles at the Broncos. Chris Lone Wolf and the Broncos. Mark and I are on the dogs here. I just have a feeling Eagles they've been chomping at the bit ever since they beat the Lions. And, they played a very close one against the Chargers last week. Broncos without their offensive coordinator. I don't know. Eagles are good against the run. Actually, they're better against the pass than they are against the run, which is weird. But, yeah. I think Teddy Bridgewater's going to struggle against Darius Slay and company, and Eagles can get it done in Denver.
I'm about to go against you. I think the Broncos are going to have the advantage here just for playing at home. They're right; they don't have their offensive coordinator, but I think they'll still make it through with the Eagles.
Yeah. I love Jalen Hurts and what they're doing. The run game for the Eagles. Over under is 46. I'm going under. I think this could be one of those games where it's like both teams scoring in the teams.
Yeah, it could, and it very well could be.
All right. Seahawks at the Packers. We get the quarterback matchup that everyone wanted. Russell Wilson is back. Aaron Rodgers expected to be back, being that he will be cleared off of the COVID list by tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last day of his quarantine or whatever, or the first day he can get activated off of the COVID list. So yeah, I was very surprised no one took Russ. But at the same time, my reasoning in taking the Packers is that both quarterbacks have been out. Russ has been out longer than Rodgers has. But the thing is, Russ has had a whole week to prepare. Rodgers hasn't because he hasn't been able to be at the facility. I'm still going with the quarterback that I think is the better quarterback. And I think the Packers defense is better than the Seahawks too. So,
well, and I think that's something to be said that he hasn't been at the facility. Aaron Rodgers, he's been dealing with the whole COVID situation. But like I said, I really do think that at the end of the day, he's going to be the better quarterback, and he'll take it.
yeah, it's very weird being around all the Packers fans here. All right, over under is 50. I'm going under 50. Give me a classic Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers game. Packers win 24-21. Gets you to 45 total. All right, Sunday night football here. Chiefs at the Raiders. We are all on Kansas City again. Kind of like the Packers game. I was surprised no one's taking Vegas at home because of what the Chiefs have looked like this year. I don't know. Maybe I should switch my pick, but
Yeah, this one's going to be a dogfight too. I really think the Chiefs got it, but I mean, what a crazy way compared to last season how the Chiefs have really gotten out of it. So I think things can be close, but Kansas City really brings it home.
yeah, and Raiders coming off their bye, I believe, so they'll be rested. Yeah, it was weird though because when I picked it, I automatically was like, all right, Chiefs. But now when I'm looking at it, talking about it, I'm like, I don't know. Over under is 52 though. Pretty high. Yeah. Just under though. Just under.
That was almost risky. I'd almost want to take the over. I really think that Kansas City can really get something going, but it'd be a tough one.
Give me 7 touchdowns and 1 field goal. That's 52 exactly.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot. So I don't know.
All right, since I said under, we'll do 7 touchdowns, 1 field goal, and 1 missed extra point. 51. Even in an indoor facility, and they're gonna miss extra point. All right. Best bets here. Another 2-1 week again. Dude, I cannot get a 3-0 week. It's just I haven't been able to do it this year. So last week I got the Falcons plus 6.5 at the Saints, right? I got the Cardinals plus 1.5 at the Niners, right? And then I lost on the Rams -7 hosting the Titans. I was hesitant. I didn't like a lot of the lines this week. I'm most confident about the Browns plus 2.5 at the Patriots. But a lot of the other ones, I had no idea what to pick. So I really should have went with the Cardinals minus 10.5 against the Panthers, but I'm going to roll with the Steelers minus 8 against Detroit. They haven't been very good against the spread this year, but it's the Lions. I'm going to roll with it. And then again, kind of the same thing. The Colts minus 10.5 against the Jags. Kind of the same feeling. Like I said, I think the Colts are going to do it to the Jags what they did to the Jets and just destroy them. So I don't know. If I can get a 3-0, man, I can finally get over 500.
I think you can get it, Rusty. I think you got some good picks going into this weekend. So we'll see how it goes for you.
All right, lock standings here. Chris, the only one that won, and he has finally separated himself from the pack, being one game up on us here. So locks last week, Chris got it done. Luckily for him, the Ravens won in overtime against the Vikings. Mark was on the Rams, lost to the Titans. I was on the Raiders. They lost to the Giants. So this week, Mark and I both on the Cowboys hosting the Falcons. And then Chris is on the Bucks at Washington. Like I said, actually, I shouldn't really say. I know I said Chris's Bucks pick was a cop-out because we had the rule that we can't pick locks that are double-digit favorites. But I realized that Mark and I's wasn't much better because the Cowboys are -9. So, but the Bucks are -9.5. I think that's worse. A half a point from the double digit. Like, come on, Chris. Pick someone else. Grayson, would you have a lock this weekend?
Man, it's going to be tough, but I really think that the Cardinals are going to be that they're not going to have an issue. I really think that they'll be a good game there. And I think.
But remember, you can't pick a double-digit spread.
Correct. Okay. Well, I don't want to go against y'all saying the Falcons now, but I mean, I don't know. It's going to be tough. But I'll have to go. Yeah, I'll have to go with the Cardinals. I mean, I think they're going to win double digits maybe, but that'd be my lock.
Why don't you take the Titans?
Okay, yeah, I guess take a Titans. I think that'd be good. Yeah,
Titans
do that.
3. All right, let's get to the dog standings here, spelled the Georgia way, DAWG. Yeah, Chris went 0-2. We'd love to see that because Mark and me especially, needed to get closer to him. I'm now 3 games out. Mark is 1 because Chris lost his dog. He had the Texans plus 5.5 at the Dolphins. Texans lost by 8. And Mark and I, we were together last week. We had the Cardinals plus 1.5 at the Niners. They railed the Niners. So got the 2 points there. As you can see, you get 1 point if you win, 1 point if you cover. So, okay, dogs this week. Chris is on the Saints plus 3 at the Titans. Mark and I, once again, we're together. I hate when he's on the same team with me, but we're together too. Plus 2.5 at the Patriots. We are on the Cleveland Browns. What are you thinking about, Grayson?
I think you guys are right on the track here. I think the Browns. I think it's really good. Good choice there. I think they'll win against New England.
All right. Next Friday, we'll be back here breaking down the Monday night game, Rams at the Niners, NFC West matchup, and the Super Bowl 51 rematch between the Patriots and the Falcons. Will the Falcons blow a lead again or not against the non-Tom Brady Patriots team in Atlanta there? As always, we will have all of our picks, locks, dogs, etc. And that is the show for today. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. FAApodcast.com is our website. Check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. And go Polar Bears tonight. Got a big game, big playoff game, round 2 of the District 3 playoffs in Pennsylvania. Playing the number 1 seed Bishop McDevitt. We'll see how that goes. But I told the boys they got to keep playing so that when I come home for Thanksgiving, I'll be able to watch a game in person. So we'll see. We'll see if they can get the dub tonight or not. But Grayson, I appreciate you coming on, man. A good time.
Thanks for having me. Go Dogs like usual. Hopefully see you next weekend, and let's see how I did for those picks.
Yes, sir. And hopefully I will see you in about a month.
Yes, sir.
When I come to Athens for the national championship game.
Damn right, brother.
All right, man. Great show, and we will see y'all on